Dobro večer, dragi gledatelji. Naš četvrti gost u razgovoru dana je po prvi puta u stvari protagonist filma o kojem govorimo. Poželite zajedno sa mnom dobrodošlicu u studiju Nick Payne. Thank you for coming. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Since your film is like very emotionally intense, I'd like to suggest that our viewers, for the beginning of our conversation, just see the trailer.
Sure.
Pogledajmo trailer.
Why is it that we live differently and we don't go to school and stuff? We don't have kids.
Well, I mean, I made a choice quite a few years ago when you were quite little.
Vi vil være uavhengige og frie.
It's the life.
It is.
What's a real
I'm going to try as hard as I can because I know Maria would have wanted me to try.
Gratulerer med dagen, mamma. Kyss fra Freja. Elsker deg.
I don't want anybody falling in the water this time, all right?
It'll be a good adventure then. What's gonna happen today?
I have to sell the farm here.
Like, I've lived here all my life today. Prison?
Vi har jo lyst til å ha barna på skolen.
We'll have to ask them if you're allowed to carry knives, because I'm not so sure.
I have it in my bag.
It does feel like a failure.
I'm scared of it.
The story New Kind of Wilderness started at 2014 as a pilot for NRK, but it was refused. Can you tell us more how it evolved later?
Yeah, Maria and Celia, the director, had always planned to maybe make something together later, maybe a film or some project together. But Maria was pregnant with Wolfie, and then Celia also got pregnant, and time went by, and it didn't happen, and Maria got sick, of course. So it wasn't until 6 months after Maria died that Celia made contact with me again and asked if we'd be interested in doing something.
We could call, in a way, this film as a tribute to Maria.
That's really the main reason that I wanted to do it, agreed to do it, was so it could be a tribute to Maria, so people could know more of what she was about.
Yes. You made all the legacy that she left, like, for real. After your premiere in Sundance, that was in February this year, you've been in a lot of different countries, and it was always with your kids all along. So this is the first place that you come without your kids.
Yeah.
So do you feel alone?
I do. I feel I feel nervous being by myself without any hands to hold.
No needs to be fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. It's strange.
So Celia, the director, she was one of the camera girls behind the camera. So what about the other 5 people that were shooting? How were like the atmosphere in the house when the shooting, when the filming was on? How were the reaction of the kids?
It was mostly Celia. She filmed most of it, but then on certain things, then she'd bring in others. Perhaps two other camera people. There were maybe 5 in total, but they were just maybe one specific day or something. The kids did get tired of the whole thing, as did I. You know, you can imagine how tiring it is to be filmed like this. There were definitely times when we didn't want to be filmed, when the kids didn't want to, and that was respected. They could be out of the filming that day if they wanted to, but of course they forgot and would just get involved anyway, you know. So yeah, but the main thing, it was mostly Celia, and she became a good friend and came and hung out with me and with the kids without filming as well. So they got to know her. Made it easy.
So how was it during the premieres with your kids? How did they feel after watching the film and after being interviewed?
Well, we watched the film obviously together before. I watched the film first before anybody else had seen it, and cried all the way through. And then the children, I watched it together with the children, and they see it in a different way. So they saw all the funny bits, you know, and so we laughed a lot more. I cried a bit of the way through and laughed a bit more. Going out to Sundance and seeing it on the big screen, you know, on the cinema screen for the first time was, yeah, that was overwhelming, really. So yeah, I cried through a lot of that. But the kids, you know, they were not in that place anymore. They just saw the fun of it, and obviously we were all a bit nervous about going up and meeting the audience afterwards and answering questions, but the crowd, the audience stood up and cheered us, you know. And so we stood there, and then it was very emotional. Everybody was asking such nice questions, and all of us, afterwards we went out into the street and people were just coming over and wanting to talk to us and shake our hands, and it was like a dream, you know. It was fantastic and strange and wonderful.
After everything that you've been through, and this film getting on top of it, did it in any way relay your burden from your chest, in any way?
I think the making of the film in many ways was like a therapy, if not a therapy, at least it's something to take your mind off it, something interesting, something to be a part of, you know. And you know, having Celia to come in was also good, having somebody else to talk to, and was good. So yeah, the whole filming process, although hard, was a positive thing, I think for us. And then there was quite a long period where they edited the film and everything before it actually came out. But then the whole watching of the film and seeing other people's reactions for the film, and I mean, it brings up the feelings again. And the film is a cathartic film. It brings up emotions for everybody, and it was good that it brought up emotions again for me, because that's part of the grieving process, you know. These things have to come up. You cry, and then you carry on, you know. Otherwise, they sit inside you, I think. So it's good. It's been a very positive thing for all of us. Hronika, especially, she was at an incredibly difficult age when it all happened, and it struck her terribly, as perhaps you see in the film. But she has blossomed through this period. She goes and talks, and she's done a lot of work with the Norwegian Cancer Association, with other people who've been affected. So she's gone and talked at viewings of the film quite a lot. Just her, which is very impressive. She's become a very impressive individual. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm sure Maria would be very proud of you.
Yeah, I think she'd be proud of maybe all of us, yeah.
Dear Nick, for the end, I'd like to ask you to give a kind of message to other parents, especially fathers, in what is of most essence in our relationship to our children.
But the key is, my advice would be that try and spend as much time with your children as possible when they're young. It really is so worth it. Nobody's going to regret when they come to the end of their life, spending more time with the children and say, I wish I'd, you know, worked more in the office, you know, in my life. I would just say, choose love, like Maria said, and spend time together.
Thank you, Nick. We wish you all the best in your future plans for you and your children.
Thank you.
Dragi gledatelji, kao što je Marija rekla u ovom filmu, odaberite ljubav. Odaberite ljubav već danas za svoje najbliže, za svoju djecu. A i ono što je jako važno u ovom filmu je i činjenica da se pokušava sve više živjeti u skladu sa prirodom, sa što manje karbonskog otiska, što bi rekli. Pa u nadi da ćemo svakoga dana prići bliže tom idealu, pozdravljam vas.
Na trećem izdanju Al Jazeera Documentary Industry Days, događaju koji pruža podršku ekspanziji dokumentarnih filmova širom svijeta te povezuje ključne donosioce odluka sa zanimljivim projektima, proglašeni su pobjednici ovogodišnje manifestacije. Osim glavne novčane nagrade, uručene su i nagrade za koprodukciju u vidu arhivskog materijala. Ove godine izdvojila su se 2 projekta koji su osvojili više nagrada, a posebnu pažnju privukao je projekt pod nazivom Kuće koje plaču, koji je osvojio i nagradu Radiotelevizije Bosne i Hercegovine u vidu arhivske građe vrijedne $5.000.
Znači, naš projekat Kuće koje plaču film je koji je zasnovan na priči o ubijenom mladom košarkašu, jednom od najtalentiranijih košarkaša u tom periodu 1992. Edinu Salehareviću, gdje kroz njegovu priču i način na koji on mučki ubijen u logoru i nakon toga 18 godina poslije pronađen u 4 različite masovne grobnice, otvaramo 3 ključne teme koje su i dalje jako aktivne u Bosni i Hercegovini, a to je da još uvijek nisu otkrivene toliki broj masovnih grobnica, da ljudi koji su činili zločine po tim mjestima hodaju slobodno i nalaze se čak i na pozicijama moći. I treća je ta da je cijela jedna generacija vrlo uspješnih i perspektivnih ljudi koji su trebali da budu bitni za ovu državu mučki ubijena u tom periodu.
Dobitnici nagrada, ali i svi ostali učesnici programa oduševljeni su organizacijom i prilikama koje im je ovaj program omogućio, jer osim izdašnih nagrada omogućeno im je ostvarivanje novih poslovnih kontakata unutar industrije.
Ja sam prezadovoljan, znači nekad se ponavljam, ovo je prevazilo sva naša očekivanja. Učesnici su prezadovoljni, kažu da nikad nisu imali ovakve stvari, a govorim o najvećim svjetskim kućama dokumentarnog filma, BBC, TRT, Deutsche Welle, Arte, Finska, Švedska državna televizija, Kanski filmski festival, svi su oduševljeni, kažu da ovako nemaju, čak i u Evropi, na mnogo većim festivalima, selekcija je bila izvanredna. Mnogo od njih je prvi put ovdje nastupilo, znači on će tek sada ići na druge industrije, festivale, na velike festivale, prvi put su ovdje prikazali, mnogi od njih su prvi put uopšte imali pitch. Ovo je stvarno veliko priznanje za nas kao festival i za naše kolege iz Dohe, mislim da je ovo bio veliki uspjeh, sad treba ovo nekako zadržati, taj standard. Mi smo ove godine već, znači, u takmičarskoj konkurenciji AJB DOC-a imali 2 filma koji su bili prezentirani na našem prvom Industry Days. To je velika stvar, znači ti su filmovi dobili ovdje i nagrade, završeni su i prikazani su sada u takmičarskoj selekciji i dobili su velike pohvale i idu sad dalje na druge festivale. Mislimo da je ovo već do sada uspjeh. Naravno, mi smo krenuli prije 3 godine, zapravo 2 godine, ovo je treće izdanje, i bez nekog iskustva. Nismo sad mogli očekivati da ćemo tako brzo se popijeti u neku kategoriju, da igramo s ovim velikim igračima, međutim to je tako i sad na nama je opterećenje da nastavimo, nadam se da hoćemo, jer ipak čini se da je skoro 300 projekata se prijavilo, stvarno govori dosta o tom nekom, koliko smo im već poznati u svijetu dokumentarnog filma.
Svjetska premijera filma Porodica Davorina Sekulića publici je donijela priču o Bošnjakinji Nermini i Srbinu Marinku, povratnicima u Srebrenicu, gradiću na severoistoku Bosne i Hercegovine. Dok sanjaju o Srebrenici prije rata, gradu punom ljudi, razvijenoj privredi, u stvarnosti proživljavaju ono što su njihovi roditelji prije 30 godina, samo ovaj put u miru. Cijenu zajedničkog života u gradu s burnom prošlošću plaćaju tako što i najmlađeg sina ispraćaju daleko od Srebrenice, nakon što su davno ispratili 4 starije djece. Festivalska publika imala je priliku pogledati još jednu svjetsku premijeru u domaćoj produkciji, film Mistični kanjon Rakitnice autorice Rubine Smajić. To je priča o ljudskoj želji da se otkrije i vidi nešto što je skriveno i nedokučivo, bez obzira na teškoće i opasnosti na tom putu. Film prati putovanje grupe entuzijasta i avanturista koji se spuštajući se niz litice isklesanog prirodnog fenomena nadrealne mistične ljepote bore preživjeti u divljini. U okviru ovogodišnje festivalske teme Justice, AJB DOC propituje i aktuelne probleme u bosansko-hercegovačkom društvu. Tako je u okviru panel diskusije nasilje nad ženama, koje je održana u Europe House-u, skrenuta pažnja na jedan od najvećih izazova bosansko-hercegovačkog društva. Program festivala traje još sutra kada gledaoci imaju priliku pogledati 4 dokumentarna ostvarenja. Nakon ceremonije zatvaranja u Bosanskom kulturnom centru prisutni će pogledati film Bolnica Al-Šifa, zakopani zločin.